Shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening and learning, and to the Ba'ashat Dapatat, the house of David. I'm Aya Shatad.
I'm Karatazah.
I'm Cologne.
Coming to you through the will and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, as well as you speckled birds whose father's line goes back. You are the true children of Israel. You are the ones who Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai speaks of. All right? Salvation belongeth unto you and you alone, first and foremost, starting with the elect of the 144,000 elect men, then the multitude of the men, women, and children who believe upon the true testimony of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right? But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this lesson. It's an impromptu, but Lord willing, be uplifting unto the body and the listeners.
First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 50 says, "Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law."
Right, be zealous for the law. All right, for the law of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, stand up. All right, and these coming days and these times, how much more should you cling unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in the way of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai? More than any other time in history, should you hate evil now more than ever. All right, for our salvation draweth nigh. All right, it's nearer than we believe. Okay, here it is. You hear wars, rumors of wars, seeing chaos and disorder running rampant. All right. So how much more should you stand for the law of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai? Calling upon his name, calling for repentance and forgiveness. This is something that we all need. All right, but it is only the elect of the nation of Israel who are going to receive it, who are truly going to seek after it. Everybody else is just going to be caught up in the way. All right, following after the way of Esau, following after the way of Babylon the Great. All right.
It says, "And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers."
Right. You have to be willing to give your life. All right. That's not just your physical life. That's the monetary gain. That's everything. Put off that old man. You have to be willing to give everything for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and walk in a new way. Walk as a new man. All right. You have to be even willing to give your very life, the breath in your body, the blood in your veins. All right. That Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai may require. But know if he chooses that way for you to serve him, all right, and for that ultimate sacrifice to be given for him, all right, then you are counted worthy of the mercy and the grace and the love of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, you're going to be on those chariots first. You're going to obtain that ultimate gift first, salvation. All right, you will wake up in the chariots to receive the rest of the elect of your brothers and sisters. All right, the rest of the neighbors. All right, that you will be able to praise Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai with. All right, and Lord willing, we be those men. All right, you got it.
It says, "Call to repentance, remembrance, Slucky, what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name."
All right. Remember what our fathers did in their time. All right, our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. All right. Remember what they've done. All right. Remember that we read about them today in the name that they have. They guide us in the way that we are to walk through the experience that they found in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, though they had to walk in that experience. They had to walk and follow after Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They had to live it, all right? And through their testimony, yet are we learning about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's testimony, still to this day. All right, for the discipline, for the obedience, for the care, for the love that they have shown unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that we may be able to receive it today, to receive those same disciplines, mercy, and grace from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, following in our Father's footsteps. All right?
Keep going.
Yeah. And I don't have to be the only one that's talking.
Oh, keep
hey, y'all brothers want to say
something? You said read down to...
You're reading down to 64.
Okay. Verse 52, 1 Maccabees 2 and 52, it says, was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness.
Right. It was counted unto him as righteousness. All right. That he found favor in that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai found favor in him. Salaka was getting tongue twisted.
Oh, and Abram. What? Abraham making him the father of nations.
Right.
And then, those, father of nations, those, what the brother was speaking of our forefathers, where, that blessing that seed line, went through from Abraham, Isaac to Jacob.
Right. And that's all to the glory and the majesty of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That he yet still chose us. That he made the separation. That he caused our fathers to be faithful and true. Because he had already predestinated and ordained them. The reverence we are to have for the laws, statutes, and commandments of the covenant that was set up for our forefathers. All right? The gifts and the curses that we benefit off of. We benefit off the curse as much as we benefit off the gift. Because through these curses, we get to receive the gift of everlasting salvation, being tried and refined as gold in the fire. Receiving salvation through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's will and his sacrifice. For we are servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, so we know we have to suffer. We are meant to suffer because the servant is not greater than the master. But it is yet in this that we have our hope, we have our love, we have the discipline, and we have the scripts for our learning.
It says, Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt.
Right, so going to show you, hey, even when you're in your lowest point, in your lowest case, you still stick to what's true. Stick to what you know. If you claim to be a man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that's what you should know. You should know Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You should know his laws, statutes, and commandments. You should know how to please him. You should know what it is to stand up for righteousness. You should know to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, when to talk and when not to talk, to the best of your ability.
Mm-hmm.
Having fear.
Which Joseph showed, that adversity, having that fear, and still believing in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, that he was going to take care of him. And even at his lowest moments, he became second in command in Egypt after Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have expected that? That's what Yahweh Hashem Yahushua can do.
And that was all through his obedience. Excuse me.
Make sure I say this right.
Phineas.
Phineas, our father, and being zealous and fervent, obtain and covenant of an everlasting priesthood.
Right, obtained a covenant, received, got, gained a covenant. All right, not any covenant, the covenant. All right, the one that we are fighting for to see the second one today. All right, the one that we yet have benefited off of still to this day. We're to fight for these things. We're to fight spiritually. All right, for that which truly matters. and then wait on Yahweh Shem Yahushai to rise us up physically. This is what is worth fighting for. Being zealous, this is what's worth dying for. It is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It is what he has promised unto his nation, unto his people, unto his elect. And Lord willing, we be of that number.
It says Yahweh Shai for fulfilling the word was made a judge in Israel.
Right. So Yahweh Shai, being the word, he was made a judge in Israel.
That's speaking of Joshua.
Judge, right?
That's speaking of Joshua, though.
Yeah. But you said...
It's not Yahweh Shai. It says Yahweh Shai, but it's speaking of
Joshua. Yeah. Being made a judge in Israel, right? Joshua was a judge
because
of Israel.
That's the translation. You'll see the word Jesus in the Apocrypha, but it's speaking about Joshua because they share the same name.
Right.
Hawashai. Yeah, Hawashai. So.
But was it? He was still the judge of Israel. He was still made to rule over the house of Israel, and that in his time, and Tawada for differentiating that, but he was still made to be a judge of his time, right? To what? To bring those back unto the Father, to bring those back unto the order of the covenant, right? There is not it wasn't without order, right? To keep to the covenant, to keep to the law, to the best of the ability, so that we can receive that covenant, so we could stay in remembrance of what is important.
Verse 56, it says, Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom.
Right, and all these provided what? All these examples have provided what? Obedience. Have provided obedience unto what? The covenant, the law, the blessing that was given. Judgment, righteous judgment, true judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Order. All right, being in order and keeping order to the best of your ability in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. There is no way to have the law without having order in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. No way to be a partaker of the covenant if you're out of order. Because if you're out of order, the wages of sin is death.
Mm-hmm.
All right? It is to establish the order, to keep everything correct, to keep everything perfect and clear, and to keep it holy.
It says Isaiah, for being zealous, and Elias, for being zealous and fervent, for the law was taken up into heaven.
The law was taken up into heaven.
It's Elijah.
So what?
Elijah.
I was just saying that's Elijah. Speaking of Elijah,
Can be up in the chariot. I'm trying to say these names.
I'm like, where
Ananias.
Ananias.
Azarias,
and
Misael.
Mizael.
Are you reading it? Or?
Well, yeah, I am. But you're saying it where I'm trying to say it correctly. So I appreciate that because I was.
I was just helping you.
I was. I gotta say it again. Ananias, as Azaris, and Mazael. By believing, we're saved out of the flame. Daniel for his in innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions.
Right. So all in order. All keeping the faith. All keeping the law. All keeping the word. All keeping the fear. In Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All keeping order. So that everything that is received is in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
Yeah, well, you make the point that they ain't all keep the law perfectly.
God.
You know. But, you know, speaking of David, you know, but he was a righteous judge and always had those, you know, he ruled mercifully, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and in righteousness. But
and having love, being zealous, having love for righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Not, once again, as the brother said, hey, not everybody doing it perfectly, but everybody perfectly striving to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and then like, you know, Daniel and you know, that shows that they was persecuted, you know, the three holy children,
Mm-hmm.
you know, persecuted for you know, trying to keep the law, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When they made it against him. And that's pretty much the whole thing, you know, it's the example, you know, of those men kind of end off on that, because this is Mattathias after, you know, they recovered. I believe if you read in verse 48, you know, it's Mattathias recovering the laws from, you know, at this time the Greeks, and you know how they defiled the temples.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but this kind of has that same notion, because you had men of Israel, you know, pretty much just submissing or you know, or just you know, falling under that wicked rule of Antiochus, right? And just allowing, you know, these heathen to, you know, or not standing up for you know, for Yahweh Shem Shai's laws and covenants. They let me just grab it. I gotta find it, but it's in, I know it's in the first chapter. And
being a yes man to the world.
Yeah, but pretty much just going on. Where did it talk about the Israelites that, you know, they pretty much they promoted, I wouldn't say promoted, but they went along with it, and then
is it 30 or 24?
No.
So he was.
It's in chapter 1, I believe. It's not 24 though. Yeah. This is a verse 41. This is a First Maccabees 1 and 40.
Well, there you go.
41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and that goes back to what the same thing that this devil is doing here. This is the revamped Greco-Roman Empire. You know, the still part of this fourth beast system. You know, more. You know, because the that period is called Greco-Roman because they shared the same ideas and they ruled in the same type of manner. All right. Um, they kind of came out of each other. You know, one, you know, fell into the other, and then this one was birthed out of that, or let's say rebirthed. You know, which this one I'm talking about is that little horn. All right, which would be America, Babylon the Great. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. You know, that goes, you know, kind of coincides with the, you know, NWO.
Right. Pledges of allegiance.
how these, you know, and how, you know, they're trying to get this thing back into, you know, and tie it kind of back into the tower, the same thing as the Tower of Babel, where they could have control over everything, you know. Be on the same accord. And that's how, you know, this devil orchestrates shit. That's why, you know, he needs everybody linked into the same system, you know. It says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Okay, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
And that's exactly what's happening again today, like the brother said. Same exact thing.
It's nothing new under the sun.
Right. Same exact thing.
So that's where it came from, and then, you know, in the second chapter, that's when, you know, they was recovering, you know, trying to recover that, which was pretty much lost Mattathias, and you know, the but he after he passed it was Judas, right? That came up after him, but they led. You know, I haven't went into the Maccabees. Now I'm gonna have to read it again in a little bit, but they were, you know, that part of that remnant.
Yeah.
You know.
And having to understand that, hey, that same thing is happening again today. You have it with this current fourth industrial or fourth digital revolution that's going on, right? With these states signing on, right? Signing on and saying, hey, all right, we'll receive the funding, we'll go with it. We'll tell these businesses, hey, it's time to go cashless. We'll give them the gifts of Rome, right? We'll give them the gifts and the infrastructure to set up. If you want to have a play in this NWO. All right?
New world.
You're right, it was the fourth industrial revolution.
God, the fourth industrial revolution. Excuse me. I think we got two more, right?
Yeah.
Or two
Back
or three
on
more.
First Maccabees 2 and verse 61 says, and this consider ye throughout all ages, that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms.
Right. So you should know and understand the end because Yahweh Shem Yahushai not only has told you by his mouthpiece, the prophets, not only has he given you testimony in these books, all right, and by the prophets, all right, that you can see his latter end, because this man doesn't have a care. He's full of pride, all right, he's full of deceit, he's full of dung, all right.
Well,
He's a
that's
bloody
just
evil
saying
man,
that the end of them is going to be death.
right?
That's
Because he pursued blood.
Yeah, but so it say, fear not the words of a sinful man, for the glory shall be done in worms. That's where he's headed, to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is reserved, or that's all that Esau really has
promised.
Yeah, that's his lot. There's plenty of scriptures that solidify it. It actually says that in Job.
Mm-hmm.
It's Job 20 and 7. It says, "Yet he perisheth forever like his own done. They which have seen him shall say, where is he?"
Mm-hmm. Hey, it says right here, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 3, which being extinguished, our bodies shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air, and our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall be counted, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as the mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof. Our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning, for it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. All right. So Yahweh Shem Yahushai told you what your promise was. Your promise is that you would get to have the fruits of all the earth for a time period, but at the end of it all, you would be no more in remembrance. All right. You would not have a lineage. You would not continue, and your name and your works would be forgotten.
There's always an end.
All right. There's an end for Esau, Edom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But there's not an end to the nation of Israel. There's not an end to righteousness. The wages of sin is death. Right? And that's exactly the man of sin, has to be taken out. So, anybody else?
Add 2 more.
Yep.
This verse 63 says, "To the day he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall be not found, because he is returned into the dust, and his thought is come to nothing. Wherefore, ye, my sons, be vigilant, valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory."
Right. So by obtaining the word and the way of Yahweh Shem Yahushai to the best of your ability, with truth, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and the fear in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you can receive, if you're predestinated and ordained by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you can receive salvation. As the lesson we did earlier, you can receive immortality. the keys to life that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has for his nation. All right? The commonwealth of the nation of Israel is eternal life in the laws, statutes, and commandments that is provided. This is part of our covenant. This is part of our heritage to receive. So we're not like the other nations. Our covenant is more.
Mm-hmm.
Our covenant requires more. It demands more. So we should demand more of ourselves for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to the best of our ability. You got something, Karatazak?
Yeah, but I'll wait till you come.
What was it at?
Oh, this is Wisdom of Solomon 6, and starting at 17, it says, "For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love, and love is keeping of her laws, and giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption." And this goes back to what pretty much Mattathias was given the examples of. Those were men of renown in Israel, that stayed incorrupted in times where they were forced to almost not practice their faith, okay, and not in some accounts I'll say that,
Mm-hmm.
or they showed extreme faith. There's another chapter you could go into, is Hebrews, the 11th chapter. But extreme amounts of faith, in virtue, and how that they were protected from evil, and gained a closer relationship with Yahweh Shem Shai. That's pretty much why they were established as that rank. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to perform those tasks, and be that example for the nation of Israel. It says and love is keeping of her laws, and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption. And incorruption maketh us near unto Yahweh. Therefore the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. All right. It says, if your delight be then in thrones and scepters, O ye kings of the people, honor wisdom, that ye may reign forevermore. Okay, so the wisdom and the fear of Yahweh Shem Shai, which is that wisdom, that's what's gonna lead us, or that's what's gonna bring us, and you can't leave out the deliverance from Yahweh Shai. That's what's gonna bring us into the kingdom, but it starts with this truth and knowledge, and that is Yahweh Shai, but it's putting it into practice.
Yep.
Putting it into play, using it. Because that's those works of those good works. That's a that leads into that eternal rulership.
All right. Don't go unnoticed in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
Yeah, the desire of wisdom, bring it to a kingdom. That's the prophets, starting with the prophets on the highways and byways. That's them returning unto righteousness and returning the nation of Israel unto righteousness. Starting with the first fruits.
Okay.
But that was it.
Is it? Is it? All right. Well, Lord willing, this was an edifying, uplifting lesson. We want to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity, to the men and women and children listen learning, to the Baisha Dabadat, the house of David. Till the next time we say Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abba Baba, Shalom.